was kind of just like putting around Twitter, and I, had been on a bunch of Zoom calls and e-clinics, and I saw that you guys had been doing this, and we've been talking in New Hampshire. We do our coaches clinic like in unison with UNH. We go to a Saturday morning practice, and then we clinic after. We bring in the head of the referees in and goes through all the rules review. So probably similar to what you guys are doing. But we all get quarantined. And so we've been talking about kind of just redoing the e-clinic, but it looked like that's how you guys started. And you kept rolling with it. So I, just appreciate your guys' time. I'm an Amherst kid. I'm from Amherst, New Hampshire. I went to Souhegan. And I've coached at a few different places, but it was good to come back home. My wife is from the high school as well, and it's something different. It's something about, going back to where, being the head coach of where you played. And for a head coach, it was awesome. And I just love playing Souhegan football. So just, the last 3 years coming back home has been fantastic. I'll start sharing my screen here. And then if it's at all fuzzy, hold on. If it's at all fuzzy or if it starts to lag, just give me a heads up, and I'll try to fix that. This is what I get for having like 6 tabs open. All right. You guys good there, Half? You can see that?
Yeah, looks good, Coach.
All right, right on. So we are in New Hampshire. There's about 60 schools that play high school football. We're in Division II, which is the second biggest. We have about 750 kids, and about 45 to 50 in the program. Our kind of league goes anywhere from like 500 to 899 is kind of where we're at. When I played there in its heyday, we had about 1,000 kids in the school and about 80, 90 kids on the team. Now, that was 99, 2000. Our school was kind of the new kid on the block. Since then, they've built a few new high schools around us in some other areas that are similar to our town. Our town is a kind of upper middle class town right on the border of Massachusetts, and with a really good school system, and it's starting to come back now. My parents didn't leave the town, so new families weren't moving in because no one was moving out. So, but it's starting to come back, and so is football. Our youth program is fantastic. Both our 7th and 8th grade team and our 5th and 6th grade teams both went undefeated, and their numbers are fantastic. So we're trying to get this thing rolling again. If anybody knows Souhegan, we're actually have the 3rd highest winning percentage in the state of New Hampshire. No one's catching Plymouth; they're a juggernaut. But so a lot of good tradition there, and we've had some pretty good success. We just got some athletes, and we use them. And this is the kind of the best way that we're kind of doing that. So today it's a jet motion, jet sweep. The bulk of it is how we run our jet sweep, but it's everything else that you do just off of the motion alone. Going back to my wing T roots, so I was a wing T quarterback. I missed the spread by like at 6 years. I'm 5'7". I couldn't see over the line, and all I wanted to run was waggle and counter boot. I missed the shotgun by a few years. But my senior year, when you obviously everyone knows a wing T, right? You have the series off of one action, the 121 buck sweep, the 124, the 121 waggle, and then everything that kind of looks off of it. And that's kind of how we view the jet motion with certain formations. Our first year, my senior year, was the first year we put in our speed sweep. And that was when we had the double wings, and instead of going that kind of back motion, now it's the jets, the jet speed sweep that we're all running now. So my senior year, that was fall of 2000. That's kind of when we started running it, and we were kind of the first teams to put that in. We were put that in before Londonderry and Pinkerton, who were kind of renowned wing T teams in the state. So that's kind of where some of our roots origins start, and then I had an opportunity to go meet the godfather of the fly, Mark Speckman, when I was coaching at a prep school north of Chicago, and he was an offense coordinator at Lawrence University in Appleton, Wisconsin. And he's kind of the god. He's been running the fly for like 30 years. That's what he calls it. He'd probably slap me for calling it the jet sweep, but he's the godfather of the fly and everything fly. So a lot of the principles and what we do on the perimeter, some blocking, and I'll go through that later, are attributed to him. A lot of the great coaching points you'll hear are a lot attributed to him. And now he's the running backs coach at UC Davis out there in California. Kind of just my general philosophy, I guess, is for us, like, make them run early and pound it late. So a lot of times this year, our first, it's kind of like the old school guys who maybe just are always going to run off tackle to the right the first play of the game, and no matter who they're playing or when they're playing, and they've been doing it forever. It's kind of how we've morphed into that with the jet sweep. We're going to let you know, you guys are going to be running early, and you're going to be running. This is us. And we want to get D linemen to run east and west, and we want to make corners tackle. And I think as the game goes on, I would say we don't play as fast as I would like, but we certainly like to control the tempo and be up tempo. But by the second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, we start pounding it inside late with whatever our inside run plays are. I listened to the running backs coach from Harvard give a similar jet motion clinic, and he talked a lot about defenses losing, kind of getting manipulated. We heard Coach Spence from Bates earlier talk about manipulating the defense in various ways. For us, the jet sweep is a great way to do that. Just defenses lose key read, gap integrity. We tell our players the jet motion is like a pretty girl walking down the street. You can't keep your eyes off her. So they can't help it. Even good, solid defenses can't help it. They're not reading their guard keys. They're worried about jet sweep, especially if we hit it a few times. It ends up being a pain in the balls. So that's a big thing for me. And as we keep building the jet motion, you see how it all kind of ties in together and what we build off of it. For me, you could fit any offense. You're an I-Pro team, you're a wing T team, you're a gun team. Doesn't matter. It can fit any offense. We are always going to have we all got them, the short 5'7", 5'8" quick kids who maybe can't play running back, have average hands. Jet sweep is a great way to just get the ball in their hands. And then jet motion, or the illusion of jet, has been about 29% of our offense the last 2 years. I did a study last year that when we pad in jet, our average yards per play went up exponentially. So knucklehead, run more jet motion. So some jet motion coaching points, if you will, kind of how we do things with our procedure. Play call will tag a certain player to go in motion. So if we're trying to tag the A back to go in motion, it would be A dash. So something like that. We might get to a point where, because we run like all these plays without jet, so we're looking at just giving it another code name or another hand signal, and with the motion already built in for next year. Kind of just thoughts for next year. The QB will put jet player in motion, and he goes through the code words to the offensive line, and then he'll start his cadence, he'll time it up, put the running back in the jet man in motion, and then he'll snap the ball generally near the offensive tackle, the near offensive tackle. We'd love for him to be at full speed at the snap. So as he's kind of gradually accelerating, and then he needs to be full speed kind of at the snap, which is generally about at the tackle. Great coaching point. Don't decide till the pads collide. You'll see on film we do that well at times, but it's a coaching point that I need to do a better job at hitting for the players. But you'll see how it's just so simple and very effective. General rule for us: if you fake the jet motion, continue running a bubble. We got times where he's running into the flats, he's running a wheel, but kind of general default, continue running the bubble, because we'll do some like zone read option off of it. We don't do enough of that, but you can kind of see that's where we start. So our base runs that we run the jet off of: outside zone, power read, and counter. We do run like an inside zone play, tight zone. We stink at inside zone. We're looking to kind of move more towards better path for the back, maybe better vertical doubles, maybe putting in veer. But whatever your inside run play is, utilizing the jet motion off of that has to be a must. But that's the beauty about the jet motion, is that you can build it off your base runs, which we do. We'll start with jet sweep. And kind of how we do it on the perimeter on the blocking. For us, in terms of the offensive line, we've done it multiple ways. We've run it as the buck sweep. We've run it as like a TED scheme, tight end down, tackle around. And we've just run full stretch and sweeping and full reach. If you talk to Coach Speckman, he would say, don't pull anybody. They just get in the way at the point of attack. Sometimes he'll fight that to his grave. It was kind of something we fell into where we were pulling the front side guard here, but he was still looking for the inside linebacker, the front side inside, because our front side tackle was doing a great job getting the reach on the ends. That he was having a hard time bump off, and outside zone can be a really hard play to teach. So I think in terms of, and I'm an average O-line coach, but I think that whatever your kids can do and whatever outside run play your O-line coach can execute, then do that. I know some teams that run jet don't run an outside run play. They just run power read, and that's kind of their outside run play. They just don't even worry about it. Whatever you feel like you have the time to put in. For our offensive line, we're reaching. So if we're this front side tackle here, he's working to get his inside ear to the outside ear of the down lineman, of the guy in his gap. And whatever deep step he needs to execute to make that happen, he will do that based on the technique. If it's a wide five, tight five, whatever it might be. And we tell them it's all about the backside hand. So if I'm stepping, reaching, and running, and it's all about that backside hand. So we tell them to get the backside hand on the far number, and then the play side hand on that bicep. And then keep running. And run your feet on contact is probably the biggest coaching point that we try to give those guys. Because a lot of times they hit contact and they stop their feet naturally. You really have to drill that in them. We do two great drills that we do. Partner up, like size, like ability, get on the sidelines, get on a line. And then if I'm facing you, I'm reaching to the right, you're reaching to your left. And on the snap count, we need to basically reach each other. And they do a great job at really getting depth, but also running and really fighting to get the reach. We'll do that all the way down to the hash, and then just flip it around and go the other way. And then as we get further along, we'll do it with on one knee, where the place where I'm going, that knee will be down, And then it really forces them to push off of that inside leg and really get depth. So I really like that one as well. So frontside tackle, frontside guard, the center, they're all reaching generally, right? Perfect world, it's these three for these three. On the backside, if the guard has a guy in his play side gap, he's just going to go ahead and reach him. And a lot of times, these linemen, the one guy, the two guys you got to handle are the kind of the disruptors here. So the front side end and the front side overhang. These are the two guys you got to handle. Like there are times we used to run this as like an interior read where we were reading one of these guys, and we didn't block either guy, and you really don't have to block any interior guys if you're handing this ball off. You just don't worry about them. Like they're not going to catch the jet man, and these guys can just go up and seal a linebacker. Another big coaching point is when you're reaching, really work to get your ass to the sidelines this way and keep peeking inside. These are the guys that can kind of hawk the play from the backside. Going back to the backside guard, if he has a 3 technique in his backside B gap, he would end up basing him because we read this as an RPO. So he's going to base the backside 3 if he's got a 3 technique. So you can say he's manned the backside, just executing whatever technique. And the backside tackle as default, he's always going to base the 5 technique. We call it STD, set to drive. So if he's got a wide 5, he's just going to set him and then base him. If he's tight, he's just going to base him right now. He always does that unless if we tag him otherwise for him to just rip, reach, and run kind of like everyone else. When we run sweep with slants on the backside with no jet, we're reading this backside inside. We're not going to block that guy. So we're reading him on the RPO. That would be the second level RPO. When we run it with jet motion, he's going to read the backside overhang. So if it's man coverage and he's running with it, he's faking jet, pulling, throw the slant. If this guy triggers down and comes off the edge, he's going to pull it, flip his hips, and throw the slant. If he stays at home and doesn't move, hand the ball off, we're going to have some pretty good numbers to the perimeter at the point of attack. We love this play down near the goal line because you know you're going to get man. This is also a great 2-point play. And that's, when you're running some of your base stuff as your 2-point plays and you feel like that maybe these 2 guys are 2 of your better players, well, when you get down near the goal line, you got to be thinking players and not plays. But we do some exotic stuff like with 2 points, 2-point plays. But, in terms of scoring points, do what the kids have been repping for 3 years in a row. We'll talk real quick on the perimeter. And this stuff was kind of life-changing for me. So in terms of perimeter blocking, they have a 3 numbering system depending on if you have 3 players, you're going to 3 number it. If you're going to like an open side, like a weak side, then it would be two numbers. And I'll tell you how that works. So they number the defense as, So they would number the defense as 1, 2, 3, and 4. So if we call out 124, it goes outside in. So the outside receiver is going to block the first digit, and he's got 1, so he's blocking the corner. The second guy in, H-back, slot receiver, doesn't matter. He's going to block he'd block the second digit. So if this is 124, he's blocking number 2. And then the third guy, who would be the back, generally the lead back, the lead blocker, he's going to block the third number. So if you say 124, he's going to kind of help and get the party started on number 2, but he's going to work up to 4. You'll see we do it a few different ways. One way we didn't do it enough of was bringing this guy in here and making it like 221. So they're doubling this guy. Then the lead back would end up coming up here for the corner. A lot of times we're 421, so he's cracking the free, especially if we felt like we had to get the free safety handled. 421, so he'd be going for 4. He'd stay on 2, and then the lead back would go for 1. But a lot of times, and you'll see, like we got to handle this guy a little bit better. So I hope that made sense. But it's great community. We don't put it in the play call, but it's more of game plan week. Hey, we're thinking we're going to do block it this way this week, and then coming off a series, we can say we can make the adjustments on what we need to do. So if this ends up being a little choppy there, Mike, just give me a holler and we'll get through that. So this is first play of the game, first play of the year. And you know what we're coming out in. We're going to run jet sweep. This is St. Thomas over in Dover, right next to Marshwood, or Berwick, Maine, I should say. And then, so this is a really good, not so great up top by not so great up top by this guy. Watch this. I learned how to, let me do this. Oh, maybe not. Okay. So not so great by this guy up here, right? We're always still trying to get wide receivers to block. Our corner down here, our receiver down here got in a bad habit of running as a 1-step slant instead of a 3-step slant. But we really want this guy to push this vertical for 3 steps and then get this guy to keep going backwards and hitting that slant there. These guys stayed in too high. These guys stayed home. We should be handing this ball off. The H-back does a nice job at getting the party started. On the outside linebacker, on the overhang defender. Really good job. We kind of get through there. This is always nice when your jet sweeper is starting to put his hand on the back of the lead back. We call this a J step by the lead back. It's kind of like not a jab step, but I guess you can call it a jab step. It's like an open J step with this play side, and then that kind of helps give him the depth there. And then this guy, when we talk about the pads collide, if you can think of Blue Angels as they're in the sky in unison, they're kind of slightly back and slightly outside. That's what we want to get out of our jet sweeper and our lead blocker. And then when we don't decide that the pads collide, we want to almost kind of dip inside and then work to get out. Is in an ideal world what we're looking for. And then this next year, we'll tell this lead back just to run through the outside shoulder of the man he's supposed to block, and just don't break down. Run through his outside shoulder. The running back will make you right. Good open field tackle by this kid. Going to UMass to play baseball. Real good player. But we're always going to have these jet sweep guys. So you can see here we're basing the end here. Backside end. They don't go with motion. Hand the ball off. First play of the year. Great reach by our tackle. And then the guard's got to keep going. He reaches the crap out of him. So a lot of times we don't, like, teams maybe not will work the reach as much as maybe they should, and he does a great job. We'd probably want the guard to continue to go, but this is kind of how we morphed into pulling the front side guard, because we were doing a great job getting this reach here and then pulling here for 55. It worked out for us. But if we just want to get this thing reached and reach here, we could certainly do that. We just had a hard time like bumping off and doing the prison technique, if you will, by the offensive line on the combo blocks for outside zone, if you guys are familiar with that. So nice job there. We'll go. So this is later in this game. So we end up pulling. This is in overtime. Great job here running off and stalking by this receiver here. Going in motion. We still have the slant. They're so worried about the slant. You see the safeties just sitting there. That's one extra guy we don't have to worry about at the point of attack. I like outside zone because if they're a heavy interior pressure team, you're just running it away from all that crap. You have guys that can't really block in here that just reach them, outside run. You don't have to worry about blocking some of these killers that might be in there. Although, so the lead back, if we see here, the lead back is always going to be the adjuster to the number 2 man, the H-back, the slot receiver. So, what if teams start fire and blitz to your jet motion? He would just bypass, take the next man, and then the lead back would be the adjuster. Right? It makes sense because he's behind. He can make him right. That's kind of what happens here. We get an extra guy at the point of attack with the pulling guard. We get a reach by 62, the right tackle. Almost too good. And this is a nice job at cutting this up inside. Generally, we want to dip in, then out, kind of run the ladder, if you will. Get a lot of good family time being this quarantine. Good stuff. This is probably one of my favorite clips of it. And you're still running it with the H-back there. He does a good job. So even if this guy they're telling this guy, maybe he's the force defender. Hey, force that back inside. Fine. He's going to end up just putting him on the bench, take him where he wants to go. The lead back or the lead blocker will kind of adjust off of that and read that on the fly. So a good coaching point we give that kid, if it's not defined, is find the open area as if you had the ball. So if you had the ball, and I'm going to cut this up, or because the block is going out, then fine, we'll do that. And that ends up being a good coaching point for him instead of trying to tell him to continue to get outside of this. But we do a good job turning it out. We got a really good, my man Lonis here, really good job at his Brett Favre play fakes. We got the slant. We even got a little fake catch by our receiver. It's a good lost art in football is carrying out the fakes, and that's something that we try to harp on as much as possible. Coach Beckman would say even a dead man can fake it. But really good job here. Like we can see our front side guard, he's shuffling up whatever he's doing up there, but he's sealing this guy off. He tries to go inside. Perfect. You're making my job way easier, bro. Not good by the right guard here. Might have been his first game. This is 2 years ago. You'll see the reach here by the left tackle on this from the tight shot is pretty sick. So here, I don't love this separation from these two. It just really works out. But here at the end, you see a great job by my man Trey dipping it inside and then working it outside for a bigger gain. Again, this tight shot's going to be really nice. Watch our left tackle here. Not bad. We don't love that kind of slide shuffle, but it works out. The thing that he does a really nice job, you can see him working. Let me try to slow this down. You can see him working with his right hand. Look at that. It's all about the backside hand, we tell him. Run your feet on contact, all about the backside hand. Really fighting to get that reach there. That's a really good job by Vincent. And then really nice here, running the ladder, setting it up on my man Trey. Like, this is nice here. This is really good. Good money. Dip that inside. This is perfect. Doesn't get better than that. You got some dudes. Get your dudes the ball. This is a simple way to do it. I was asked, why don't you do the flip to the jet man? We just do so much off of with power read and counter and all the read stuff that we already do on it. I just didn't want to teach our guys another thing. So we are always doing this. We run a good, just like running back QB, mesh drill, whatever it might be. And we'll get all the skill guys in two different lines, two groups, and everyone's practicing jet. And then from that, and then this is like day one when you put it in. You're doing the timing, you're getting the strip out there, you're snapping at the tackle, all that jazz. So we're doing that QB running back warm-up mesh drill. It's a good pregame drill to do. But you find out you have a good idea who your good jet sweepers are. But it's a good way to get a couple guys to do it. It's a great play at the JV level. I know there's a bunch of eight-man schools now in Maine. Like, you got to run unbalanced jet sweep to the field and have a couple plays off of it, and you kind of got a solid offense right there in the eight-man world. It's less guys. It's great. Let me see here. So we're doing this action here, quite a bit. This year we ended up pulling the center with the front side three. Maybe he just got in the way. Maybe he's not seeing the backer. I don't know, but if you got an athletic guy who can do it enough, that's fine. So here, this is a good look at the receiver is now push cracking for the free safety. We want to make their corners tackle because they were allergic to it. So we had Aiden here on the force player, and then the back was going up for the corner, the lead back. Get a decent reach. This one here, this is a really good job by these two. These guys they start getting in a good groove. Your main lead blocker, your main jet sweeper, they start getting in a really good groove. And here, our lead back blocker blocks three guys on one play. One, or kind of doesn't block them, but he's running through the outside shoulder. Trey does a good job setting that up, and then just being a dude and score. It's great. Couple more. So in this game, this guy was so close. This overhang player was so tight to the box. We thought we could manipulate him as well. And so we were sending this guy up to the safety. We were trying to arc our H back to the corner, and then our lead back would end up taking the overhang player. And it's a great way too, and you'll see it later in terms of how we, run your play actions off of it. We're kind of trying to set that up. He played it way more aggressive than kind of we were thinking, but it ended up working out. Just a really great job of patience by our man Hauser. But he was more aggressive than we thought he was going to be. It ended up working out all right. Stepped out of bounds here, which is too bad, but you can see we get some good reaches going on. This is really nice. Let's see the tackle. Pretty good. He's fighting his ass off. The guard's pulling, getting to the party. It's nice. A couple more. I'll just burn through these for the sake. Solid job by the reaches here. Really good job by Ryan setting this up with the lead back. Dip it inside and then go out. They want to take the fool's gold and hit it inside. No, that overhang player is just going to fold back inside and make the tackle. It looks open, but it's not most of the time. So we want to set that up and run the ladder. Take that little dip inside and then burst out. Really good. How's that film half? Is it all right?
Yeah, it looks pretty good.
Okay.
Muted. Oh, sorry, I was muted there. It looks a little blurry in some of them, but it's not too bad.
Okay. Try to. All right. think I'm frozen. I am just going to re-share my screen here. All right, there we go.
Hey, no problem, Coach. Hey, I'm going to hit you with a question real quick, if you don't mind.
Yeah, fire up.
On that backside, the receiver, if he gets like a press corner, does he, and he's got maybe an overhang on the inside, do you ever change that route into a go route or anything like that?
We haven't, because we have gift hitches tagged to the backside. We have gift hitches tagged to the backside of that. Let me just. We have gift hitches tagged to the backside of a lot of our other plays, and the hitch does turn into a converted fade. As we have players that kind of evolve, we can certainly we run our slant. We would probably call other stuff, but if that's something where the quarterback and the receiver are like, hey, like we're getting press on the backside. Obviously, we want to take the fade matchup. So I think that's like kind of as your players kind of mature and grow. But that could just be I coach call it all. So there's nothing that says the guy up in the box says, hey, they're going to give us press. No, the slant might not be there. So we've changed it to a glance sometimes, but you easily can just call the fade, and you already know the QB is going to take that. So it's just backyard football as far as I'm concerned.
Awesome. Thanks, Coach.
Yeah. All right. Let me reshare this.
Coach, on the front side of that, I've seen it both ways, with the tackles down and the guard, loops around. Are they making that call, or is that game plan week to week?
So we generally just try to always both reach that. And the tackle kind of by default just always ended up blocking the defensive end. But as we went along throughout the season, our guard was like, Coach, I'm having trouble getting to the front side linebacker. Can I just pull around him and seal off the inside backer, or just be or maybe the inside backer is wearing 62 and he's not going to make the play anyway. So now we're just going to get an extra guy to the point of attack. So as we moved along throughout the season, we were always pulling that guy. We weren't making any calls.
Thanks.
So more of a game plan thing as opposed to like an on-the-fly thing. All right. So here, we'll just buzz through these. And this whole presentation's on Huddle, so we can I'll share it, via Huddle, whatever. It doesn't matter to me. So another good job at dipping inside. Get a couple guys at the point of attack. We'll just buzz through. Let me buzz through these and get to the slants. Okay. So here we see that we get trigger down on the blitz coming from the jet side. Really good job by our quarterback here. He gives it just a little bit of a fake. He dips his shoulders just a hair, flip the hips, and then throw. So really nice job hitting the slant here. Again, I'd like him to make it a 3-step slant. He just will push that corner that much more. If they hand the ball off, is it still a solid play? Yeah, absolutely. But this is the world you live in, right? When you're running RPOs. Also on this, I would love for this to be catch handoff. So we talk about on the jet. So boom, boom is kind of like what we talk about. Stole it right from spec. Boom, boom, catch ball, catch ball, catch ball. So a little bit tight. We'd like that to be a little bit tighter. When you're running jet power read, and we'll get to that, it will end up happening a little faster. So you might have to snap that just a hair sooner. Good one here. We want condensed formation over here, and we started getting the party started. So this was a 221, if you will. So these two double, stay on it forever up to the free safety. This guy would come up for the corner. Utilize more condensed formations this year, was pretty good for us. Here they were a big stack team. They brought pressure. He didn't go with motion. He came with the pressure, hit the slant on the backside. Where's the free safety? This is a cover 3 team. Free safety is filling on the run that side, a good catch and run. Couple nice and tight here. Again, we love it inside the 10. 1st and 8, like you better believe I'm calling this play is always in for goal line situation. Does he go with motion? Yes. Pull it, flip the hips, throw. I think I got pretty good coverage on there, but you went inside. This is catch touchdown. Tackle him in the end zone. Fine. That's where he's going to be. Couple more. This one gets a little. Can't really see the slant part, but you get the idea. They run with motion, especially if your jet guy is your best player, which it was for us 2 years ago. In number 3, all that eye manipulation, it comes in later. All you got to do is just win inside the corner, especially if it's like some sophomore corner who's shitting his pants. You got a bigger receiver. You're just playing basketball. Down here, this is 3 years ago. Wyndham, big man team anyway. So this was in. Good release here by the bottom receiver. Win inside, get leverage, catch, touchdown. Threw this one on here, like this game, for whatever reason, we wanted to just call it hitchback side. So it kind of goes to your point. Hath about, can you call whatever you want back here? Absolutely. Okay. So we're a big jet power read team. Not so much this year, but 2 years ago was really good money for us. If you wanted to do the gift hitch, or the gift route over here, whatever you wanted to make it, you can still run it on this play as well. A lot of times, I heard Sarkeesian on an e-clinic, and he was like, look, we're a big RPO team, but there's sometimes where you don't have to RPO all the time, because sometimes you lose the integrity of what you're about. You're a power run team. We're going to run the ball. We're getting after you. We want to block on the front side instead of having some kind of perimeter throw. So, that kind of resonated with me. And on this one, it's like I just want hand the ball off, or QB still going to run. So it's still some kind of option. I know this isn't like a power read clinic, but I think that your H-back, just if this guy ends up being, if this guy here is the problem guy, you can double him up to the free safety, because you're going to handle these two guys on the perimeter. If he's wearing 62, you don't have to worry about him. Fine. But a lot of teams, especially if you're a big power read team and they're telling these guys to bend scrape. So he's taking quarterback. Maybe he's going for the jet man. Fine. I want this kid running the jet man. But now that gives you an answer on stopping that. So for the sake of time, I'm just going to buzz through it. But, we're just running power read. We would like to snap the ball right before he gets to the tackle, just so our quarterback can have time to get that 1.5 shuffle where he's reading the front tight end and then getting downhill. You'll see at times our more athletic quarterback came in and was snapping it late. Coaching point that we're going to change this year, if we're running power read and it's no jet, so this kid would be on this side and then just running it this way with no motion. it's a keep the ball unless the front tight end can tackle you, then you hand the ball off. The one we're going to change this year is if it's jet motion, it's hand the ball to jet unless, and then keep, unless this guy can somehow tackle the jet, and then we keep it on the power read. So that's going to be a coaching point that we're going to change for this year. So this kind of cuts in a little late, but you can see the snap is a little late as well. We love this out of empty. We got a good little package going out at empty. So you could see that the quarterback is slightly late with the ball. That would have been like perfect for jet sweep, not so much for power read. The great thing is with the eye manipulation, you start running jet sweep, jet sweep, jet sweep, and then all these guys are going to be worried about the jet motion, and then you come back up inside with something else. This is a great for the eye manipulation for the defense. You'll see it pretty well from the tight. These guys did a good job kicking our ass, but we got them on this play. But really good job by we'd like a little bit better fake, but again, carrying out your fakes is so huge and undercoached, I think, and something that needs to be kind of brought back, right? Kind of a lost art in football. You know, I think of if you ever seen Exeter play, my God, best fakers in the state. But you see here, we got overhang player, free safety, inside linebacker, and the defensive end. Playing jet. And this kid's like, you know, our third best jet man. But again, it's a pretty girl in the street. You can't keep your eyes off her. They can't help it. Get a good player of the ball. Really good from the tight. So we see here, like this is nice. This is a really good job by the faker right here. Great work. Defensive end. No, that's the inside linebacker. Defensive end. Free safety. And then the strong safeties out there too. Like this is anybody can run through this hole. Freaking Coach Skip the score on that play, brother. Again, like another good 2-point play for us. Power read. Really, our quarterback, John, this particular year, 2 years ago, did a really nice job at the shuffle. This is a really good look at the shuffle and a half. But again, and this is a well-coached defensive team here in Pelham. But you got 1, 2, 3, 4 guys, eyes on the jet, and John's essentially walking in. Really good from the tight. .68, this is good. And I think we're the only team in our kind of league that runs power read. So if you're not seeing this all the time, if you're not seeing jet all the time, and some other teams run some jet, but not to the degree that we do. We major in jet sweep. That's kind of hard for the defenses to prepare for, you know.
What percentage of the time do you think the quarterback keeps it on power read? Because we run it and our Q pulls it probably 90% of the time. So is that why you're calling this? You want the quarterback to attack the interior most likely?
It all depends. Yes, especially if you got a guy back there. You know, when I was at the prep school, we had a kid who was going to keep it 90% of the time because he had some nuts and he didn't care. And he was going to run somebody over and get 4 yards and get the first down. So it really depends on year to year. But I think that's how you can change it too. Like if you wanted to keep tell the quarterback to always to keep it on this, unless you could certainly do that. I think it depends on the kid. Another quarterback we had this year, not so much the runner. We ran with 2 quarterbacks this year, but one of them was a better passer. One of them was a better passer than the other one, but not as good of a runner. So I think it depends on the kid that you have in terms of how you change that.
Coach, how do you adjust your scheme to the odd front? Are you reading the down tackle in that case?
Yeah, it really depends on like where he's going to be. If he's in a 5, then we'll keep him in a 5. If he's head up in a 4, or if he's in a 4-eye, we're going to try to block him. Or if not, then we will arc release him. And generally, that's going to end up being a give a lot of times on that. If that answered your question for the front side.
Yeah, that does. We've seen more odd fronts the last couple of years, and that's something we've struggled a little bit with, is the teams that play the 4 technique and they're head up and they have that loose outside backer, and we've kind of gone back and forth with who we're going to read. And like you said, it seems like when we read the tackle, we get a lot of gives. So you're running that play and you like your quarterback to keep it. So we tried it the other way, but it's really dependent on how loose that outside backer is. If he's not playing on the line of scrimmage, you can read him, but
I agree.
Down in the 4-eye. But
I think formationally, you can do some things there to kind of help you out. I haven't seen the tight front yet or the mint front. I don't want to see 3 down. That's to be frank. But that's where I think you guys do a good job with half, is bringing in a inline tight end with an H back, and then that's gonna hurt them a ton by bringing in the extra tight end, because that's, if you have a lesser guy playing tackle and he's going to try to block down on a 4-eye, it basically just becomes a single block for him. So that can be a little bit more problematic for him. We like counter a little bit better versus that. But like, they're going to have to be solid on the perimeter if they're going to run some of that stuff, or just get back into running, more vertical zone, more zone insert, kind of anything else you have there. Awesome. But I really like outside zone. I really like outside zone versus 3 down more than anything.
Yep.
But here this year, and John was an average runner as a junior. He was like a really good runner as a senior, and not like the most. Was pretty athletic, but let me go back to the start. This is in the playoff game 2 years ago against Plymouth. These guys have won. Their winning percentage is astronomical. They've been to the last 4 state title games in Division II. So we see great job. Inside linebacker is running to the jet. This guy Trey doesn't even have the ball. He's running to the jet. But we can watch my man Trey on the fake here. Just a really good job. We teach that, he's cradling it there, but we teach that kid to grab grab cloth with the backhand and then pump with the inside hand. I'll show you a good clip of that later. But this is always good when we're going empty and the inside linebacker gets to be up on the free safety against a damn good football team now. But it's always good when the quarterback is just willing himself to get in the end zone like he does here. Couple more. These guys, they're kind of running like picket fence defense or birds on a wire. They generally went to man and brought pressure anytime we went empty. So this stuff is really good versus zero blitz as well. Here's one where we're going to hand the ball off on the power read. Now our running back here blocks the defensive end. He shouldn't be doing that. He's a knucklehead. He should be peeking inside for the backer. Peek inside for the back. I like to kind of make sure that this inside backer is handled. And then if he doesn't have to worry about him, then he would be the extra hat to the free safety. But these guys played too high at 12 and 14 yards. So we were like, we don't even have to worry about these guys. Let's just get the party started on the perimeter. If you're worried about, little slot receiver trying to block an overhang, you can just have him go for the double team and get the party started on the perimeter. But generally speaking, your lead back on the jet power read is blocking for the give on the jet here. We've primarily been like a 10 and 20 personnel team. I got a guy on staff who just loves 10 personnel. This year we're looking at more formations, and half I'll pick your brain, but we're gonna have like 3 really solid running backs, and I don't know if 10 personnel. I don't know if we got 4 receivers that we can feel great about. So in terms of getting back to utilizing what you have and utilizing your personnel and what they do best is the number one. So when we're game planning, right? So you have outside zone, jet sweep, you got power read. We didn't do it enough, but fake jet and run whatever inside run play you have, zone read. We're going to run it more off of like some kind of veer look and have them continue running the bubble this year. So you have all that and all those formations. Now you got to have something. You got to have a few more things. You got to have a few things going to the backside. And counter has been a great equalizer for us. And a lot of times it's, where's the overhang player? Do they go with motion? Then we are running counter to the cows come home. Sometimes we'll formation it to make sure that we get if they don't go with motion, we'll run it away from trips. And then just so we can make sure we can dig out that front side overhang player. If they're in one high, we generally see one high most of the time. So, I just don't want to have an unblocked guy over there. Even if we're running counter where it's kind of it's an ABC type play, it's hitting more downhill. I still want to get that guy accounted for. So when we run jet counter tray coming back the other way, we've run it before where it is technically still a read, but a lot of times it ends up just being, we're going to end up handing the ball off here. Maybe this defensive end, right? He's seen reach, he's seen down block, and maybe they're yelling at him to keep playing outside. Maybe he's not playing as fast. He's not coming up field. Ends in our league, most of the time, he's not going to be kind of staying, blocking, going down on that double team. We're manipulating this kid, and it's a pain in the balls for that front side end. In this case, the backside end. But either way, the same guy. So a lot of the times it's, hey, Tyler here hasn't gotten the ball. He's gotten the ball maybe twice, and it's halfway through the second quarter. Plus, we've shown jet outside zone, jet power read. Now we're going to go, all right, well, let's hit him with jet counter. And it ends up being a really good equalizer, especially like later in the game, kind of going back to the philosophy, run outside early to pound the ball late. But I think you need something backside run, whether you're running shuffle option or speed option going the other way. You need something going to the weak side. So here, this team had to play out of necessity. They kind of had to play like they're generally a bear team. Had to play cover 0 versus us. So we ran counter to the weak side for about 275 yards in this game. And remember that J-step that we talked about, he exaggerates it here, but this J-step that he's doing is the same that he would do if he's going to the front side of the perimeter, if he's going to the front side on the jet sweep. So his first step is that J-step or a jab step, delay step, whatever the hell you want to call it. And then now he's coming up inside of this counter. We want to talk counter, blocking in terms of how we do that. Just fire away, but just for the sake of time, I'll buzz through this stuff. Ends up being a good play. Gets tackled from a kid going to UNH. I'm fine with that. Here's another one, fake jet. We almost renamed this kid's last name was Zampello. We almost renamed this motion Zamp motion, the fake jet sweep. You kind of get total buy-in from some of your players. that kid Trey 2 years ago was our best player, but we told him you need to get a blow on offense. So he would come off on offense and get a blow, and we put Zamp in and run Zamp motion and fake jet sweep. And he loved it. He knew he was getting it. He knew his role. Again, counter going the other way, not blocking the front side end. Get some good blocks on the perimeter, right? We get all that. Good. But you need something going to the weak side. And counters, we've averaged like 8 and 7 yards of play on counter the last 2 years. It's been very effective for us. So this team is a man-free team generally. They're trying to handle jet. This is the second time we, 2 years in a row, we played each other the last game of the season and then the very next week in the playoffs. So here they're trying to stop our jet by sending this guy. They're asking the free safety to push over. You got to have some kind of play action over here, which we do. But now they go with motion this way. Remember the eye manipulation. They're a man-free team. And these weather conditions stunk. Field conditions weren't great. So it's always good when we know where we're going with it, but the defense doesn't. Let me pause it here. It gets a little choppy, but here's the inside. Here's the front side inside. He ends up on the other side of the center. The overhang doesn't necessarily go with him, but we end up pulling for him. He's just pulling, our left tackle just pulling for color here. And we hit a big play.
But you have the QB just kind of stab fake to the guy in motion and then hand off?
Yeah, we ran it initially as just like a fake jet sweep. So it was you say the auto handoff. And then it got to a point where, we've messed around where maybe, hey, snap it right after he gets past the center. And now it's like a true read. But I think you get the full illusion if it's quick fake and then here. I don't think you necessarily have to. I think that the motion itself can kind of take care of that fake. But it just kind of happens naturally. Some kids, this could happen to do it more than the other kids. I don't think it's something that you need, but if you wanted to, you certainly could. But that's still kind of a pain in the ass, especially for the defense, if that's what you're asking him to do. So this is late in the game. This is play 149, kind of start of the fourth quarter. Hey, let's run what we run. We're still going to window dress it. And I love counter Trey versus they're bringing pressure here. Everything's just washing down. We're just going to domino it down. Everyone's blocking down. Boom, 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 boom. We're pulling up inside. Kid makes a good run and ends up sealing the game for us. But these have been some of our more explosive runs. Here's what I was talking about with my man Zampy motion. Trey had to come off for a play. We put Zampy in. He faked the jet. And my man Tyler's getting the ball for a big score. And we're running this to the weak side. So, we haven't run jet or anything to the weak side here. They got dudes over here anyway. But we see that their overhang player, their inside linebacker, their defensive end, they can't keep their eyes off of jet. I would say that the teams that when we were getting this past year, 2 teams hurt us pretty good. And basically what they did was they did a great job at keeping their 6 guys in the box and handling the box, and then beat the shit out of us on the perimeter because they were just a little bit better at the overhang players than they were. So those are some things that we need to kind of clean up moving forward. But that's kind of where we got hurt there. Couple complimentary runs. Sorry, I know I'm going into the hour mark. Complimentary runs that you can run off of your base stuff. We do run QB counter off of the power read. You can run just straight QB power, speed option, shuffle option, go on the weak side. Again, remember that we have that empty So we're reading this now. An empty power read, jet power read was big for us. Now we're going to empty jet counter read essentially. A little wildcat package, sure, it's great. You got a good running quarterback, who maybe doesn't play as much. You got that wildcat kid, whatever it might be. You're finding ways to try to get the ball to your best player. This is another empty, but this one looks better from the tight. So this was a kid for us who, he was kind of a positionless guy on offense. He played more defense, but he was a good athlete, and we were kind of struggling running the ball my first year here. So we're just trying to find ways to do that. And this is just a really nice job of running counter to the backside there.
You guys snapping the ball on the clap there?
We did that my first year, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Do you not like that now I'm taking it, or what did you find with that?
I felt like we weren't doing enough of, we ran like the freeze clap, so it was, and then we were doing some of that. Sometimes our quarterback would, do the fake clap. We never really went on two, but I just felt like the defense could kind of pick up on it a little bit. So now we're just set, ready, go. So quarterback gives the code words to the, we're all shotgun, no huddle. He gives the code words to the offensive line. Set, put him in motion, ready, go. And he can say the ready, go whenever. The center snaps the ball on the R and ready. We still do like the freeze tempo and things like that. But yeah, we just got away from the clap. You can run anything full. This is straight full. This is full. We're not really running. This is fake jet here. We're not really running the jet. This is going into the playoff game. We always had QB power. We just hadn't run it a bunch, but this is a great 2-point play for us. Now, instead of reading the end, now this is kind of straight QB run where you're just running power. Now with the quarterback, the lead back is kicking out the end. Say he's just going, what's he doing? Now we're going to take advantage of it. You're going to run QB ISO, lead zone, like whatever made inside run plays you want to run. Just go ahead and do that. Same play and a couple more of those. But again, it's, I'm a big end zone guy, Noah Mazzoni, and he talks about all the time that, don't change your plays, change the presentation. And it just goes back to like just dressing up your base plays. Run your base shit, add emotion, kind of like what Coach Spence was talking about earlier. Add emotion, add some shifts, do some exotic formations, go up tempo, unbalanced, whatever dickums you have, but you're still running your base stuff. Like we run 4 run plays and that's it. And really 2 of them are pretty similar to each other with the power and counter. Here we're running shovel coming back. We're running shovel option. So it's the underneath guy and then the pitch. We like that in a 2-point play, good third and 3 play, third and short to medium play. But especially with how much jet you're running down there anyway, you're going to get man. Front tight end does a good job at kind of mess charging. Our quarterback makes a play. Kind of keeps us cool. I'd say the great coaching point on 2-point plays is like the defense can't return it for points. It's a dead ball once they get it. So this past year, 2 years ago, like there were some 2-point plays where it kind of went went haywire, but the kid just like turned and maybe threw it backwards. So like always when in doubt, just throw the ball in the end zone. Like you're going to be fine in the 2-point play. Same play coming back. Really good timing by our quarterback here. Good patience by the shovel man. And it's a good 2-point play. We ran speed option once and it sucked. We're just not like a pitch normal speed option type team. if you're getting no overhang player to the weak side, like we need to run that more. My coaches have convinced me. We are a big screen team during the summer. Or during summer camp, we run 10-minute screen periods for the whole team. So this is us running fake jet, slip screen going the other way. Depending on if it's man or zone, that's what you're doing on the perimeter. Some more great stuff there. Some of our more explosive plays have been going to the backside with either corner or running some kind of screen. Same thing here, tailback slip. Really good timing by our quarterback here. We know we're going to get man. We're going to push crack with a single receiver because it's man, but generally he would run off and stalk the corner if it's zone. Got to get a little bit flat. O-line's got to get a little bit flatter, but like this is good money versus all this. This is all like we got a nice little wall there. 2nd and 18, converting for 24. Much better play caller when you can do that. Empty, especially if they're a man team, or if empty is if man is their empty check. We run a bunch of tunnels, so we run slip and tunnel. Fake the jet, run tunnel. Really good versus man teams. Take you to this Plymouth clip. Again, they were kind of man or match quarters or whatever the hell they're doing on the perimeter, but we knew that they were going to bring some kind of pressure. You get the eye manipulation from the jet sweeper. Fake the jet. We run all read screens, so like all our screens are dual read screens, but we know that this is going to be nice. Get the kick out. He runs up the tunnel for a big play. Any play actions that you're doing off it? Sorry if I'm buzzing through it. But remember this same team with their tight overhang player, we ran how we were manipulating on the blocking. Now we're doing the same thing here. We're running vertical switch as a play action. We don't do enough play action and boot and boot naked off of this as I think we should. We kind of get away with one, but you start seeing your guy up top saying, "Hey, that free safety is coming down hard." They're jumping that stuff. Same thing here. Here's another good look at it. We kind of fell into this with our Jetman continuing up. So we have vertical switch here by these two. And then our Jetman, instead of, remember, he should be running a bubble. He kind of ended up going up there too. But I've seen teams do that with their Jetman, and he's kind of like leaking behind there, almost like now you have a few different levels there. But you're faking the jet and then running your base pass routes. We ran counter boot, like we pulled both guard and tackle because we ran so much counter with the jet. Now we're going to run counter boot off the jet. We don't complete this one, but you can just see how your offense can build off of that. I really appreciate Coach Hath having me, and I just love talking ball. So it's always a pleasure. If anybody wants this, I'll send it to you via Huddle or whatever. All my email there and my cell phone. I'm on the Twitter. But whatever you guys need, I'm willing to share it. So I know it went a little long, but I appreciate you guys.
And people are running in them and biking down, Beth. I don't know how they're doing it.
That was great stuff, man. That was awesome, Coach.
Thanks, brother.
Good work, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Love seeing it. A lot of it looks familiar, but I got a couple good ideas. So that was great.
Can I just ask you a question? Okay, versus a three down, or say you're going to run your jet to a one shake. So you got an A gap player and a defensive end. Have you ever reached the end, or just say it's a zero? Reach the end, scoop the nose guard of the one shake with the center, and read the linebacker.
Yeah. So So there are times on that tape where we were reaching the front side 3 with our center, and he was doing a great job of getting to him. We, instead of running it as a jet, when we run it with no jet, we're not blocking that backside. We're not blocking the backside inside. Yep. So we're always going to read him if we're not running the jet. We've never read the front side inside, if that's what you're asking. But there's no reason why you can't run like Y pop or we just haven't done that. But I've seen that done before. Yeah. Yep.
We were running triple, so obviously our Q reading different guys wasn't a big deal. So I forget the reason why we got to it, but we were reading the front side linebackers. You run jet. He just freaking take it, like you said, just taking off. Yeah. And then we that end. Oh, see, what's he gonna do? He sees a reach block. He's gonna run. So now we run power read and read him. He's out of there with the backside linebacker. We got a shot.
And on the power read, would that if you're reading the linebacker, would you be running like wide trap?
We're gonna wrap backside linebacker and just run that open B gap. It just opens up like a sieve. And we were just getting to that my last year at Bates. The last 3 or 4 games, we just kind of fell into it, and we really liked it. It just, as again, we were running it to a 1. That's how we ran it. We run it to a 3 shade. We run it like you did. We'll double everything, typical gap scheme, and read the end. But we're just something for us.
Yeah, we're looking to run. I don't know if we'll run veer or just more like vertical tight zone. Everyone's calling it duo, and it's just more vertical doubles and just the path of the back. So I think the more we do that, where we're going to have to arc. If you're running veer and you're arcing that, you're telling that wing to go back or to safety on the seal. There's no reason why you can't fake the seal and then just have them continue running some kind of pop or Y seam, depending on where the free safety is.
Well, I like it out of empty too. It's good. I got watching half do some of that the other day, and it's just driven in. It's hard. This old ball guy sometimes hard to get that shit in there, but I think it's pretty good stuff. I really do. Getting out in space and it's good stuff, man.
Awesome, Coach Goff, you got something?
Yeah, I got a couple for you. Do you guys consider yourself to be an up-tempo team? And do you also mess around with any no huddle?
So we don't want to go fast all the time. It's more, I want to control the tempo. So we run about 6 one-word calls to go up-tempo on the ball. Right now we're going. We have calls to get on the ball and run the same play. We have calls to run all hitches. We have calls to run hitch and go, QB sneak. So we have a bunch of one-word tempos. Sometimes if we're going to have a base run or some of our base shit, like call that NASCAR or Top Gun or Maverick or whatever. But so whatever your base stuff, especially if you start getting wordy with your play calls, call it one word and everyone's running it. We're all no huddle. We're all shotgun. We've done some muddle huddle stuff where maybe the line just huddles up, especially if you have like a younger line and they need some time to process, just like 3 yards away from the line of scrimmage, and then give them that. But our skill players are always looking at me for the signals. 2 years ago, we put in like a jet package or a jet series. We got up to 5 in that, just signal was just like airplane wings and 1. So jet 1, jet 1, jet 1. And it was basically a way to get our best player as a single receiver, because he was normally a slot guy for us. So now he's a single receiver. Now we're like sprinting out to him. He's running a post ball, just kind of various ways to do that. And it stayed the same 5, all year. So I would consider, we're not as fast as I want to be, but we do play with a good, steady tempo. And when we can always slow it down and we can always turn it up.
Cool. My next question is, how many jet sweeps do you think you run per game?
I will tell you, my friend. Give me a
As
second.
many as it takes, Coach.
As many as it takes. If you were, I think this year at a Jet, I'll tell you right now. If you asked like Coach Speckman, like the godfather of the sweep, he would say run the sweep, and then if they stop the sweep, you keep running the sweep, or running the fly in his instance. So this year we ran jet sweep 60 times, power read 34 times, counter 27 times with the jet. So you're looking at maybe 80, 90 times. So out of 10 games, you're looking at some kind of jet about 10 to 12 times a game.
Nice. Two more for me. If you were defending yourself, how would you stop yourself?
I would go 3 down. I think it's a little bit tougher for us. I would go 3 down depending on what we were doing on the perimeter. I would press the shit out of us. We have bigger outside receivers. We have decent slots who can run like the slot fade and do that. But we do a decent job at practicing that. But we got Hollis and Pelham did a great job on defense this year because they're in the box. 6 guys stayed in the box and worried about the box. They didn't worry about jet. They worried about their guard keys, their read keys, and they were filling their gaps hard, and they were just more physical than us on the perimeter. So it's more not necessarily scheme that's against us. It's more of just being disciplined as a defense. And they were great at some fundamentals, block destruction, tackling, lining up. But generally, I don't want to see 3 down. I think we need to